Welcome back. Vladimir Putin and Barack Obama have been facing each other down all week, hurling sanctions and rhetoric at each other as the crisis over Ukraine and Crimea grows ever more tense. And at the same time, there has been a media war going on. And it's been going on inside RT, or Russia Today. That's the Moscow-controlled propaganda cable news channel that comes into millions of Americans' homes. We've learned this week that inside the network, American anchors are now being pulled off the air in favor of Russian journalists and others who are more willing to toe the pro-Russia line. Joining me in a moment to tell me more about this is the RT anchor who quit her job live on the air. But first, let's play that moment one more time for those of you who haven't seen it.
I cannot be part of a network funded by the Russian government that whitewashes the actions of Putin. I'm proud to be an American and believe in disseminating the truth, and that is why, after this newscast, I'm resigning.
Wild clip. We always have to play that to introduce Liz Wall, who's here with me in the studio. Thank you for coming back.
Thank you.
So we talked here 2 weeks ago. You've had an interesting 2 weeks, I'm sure, since. And now there's word, in part from you, that some of your former colleagues there, other Americans who worked at the channel, have been taken off the air. What can you tell us about that?
That's right. Well, certainly the increased media scrutiny has put people on the inside there on the edge. They know that before, not a lot of people knew what RT was. It kind of had this very consistent fringe extremist following. This is the kind of audience that they cultivated. And now, after my resignation, it's become clear and more, people know what this station is all about now. And there's people there that want to be credible reporters and are worried about possibly what they're going to be doing in the future and are standing up now, are saying, no, I don't feel comfortable pushing this propaganda. It's led to an internal revolt.
And you're hearing this from colleagues who you still speak to who are there.
Well, it's pretty obvious because they post the YouTube clips. They're very persistent about posting YouTube clips.
So you can see who's on air.
You can see who's on. And the person that is on air is somebody that hasn't been before. She's the Russia correspondent. So they put her on the air. She's somebody that has not been shy to be, somebody that would be willing to would not hesitate.
Who maybe agrees with management.
Exactly, agrees, and she's done very controversial reports that fits RT's narrative, this kind of anti-American narrative, kind of stirring up paranoia. This is the profile that she fits, and she's never been on the anchor desk before. They put her on. She's been on every day this week so far. I know on Monday, one of the reporters that was supposed to anchor, one of the American reporters, voiced concern shortly before the live 4 p.m. newscast, and she was taken off. And ever since then, we haven't seen an American anchor back on the desk. So things are tense.
And of course, may not get many viewers on television, but we've both mentioned that YouTube channel. That is by some measures, the most widely viewed news channel on YouTube because they've been on it for years. They've been very good about promoting their clips. Yes. So some people who view their clips on YouTube may not realize what they actually are.
No. And that was part of why I thought it was important to make it public what exactly the station was about. I didn't realize that it would blow up to the extent that it did, but I wanted people, even if they just Googled and find out, what is this RT? What is this clip that I'm watching? To consider the source. And the source is that it's funded by the Russian government. The opinion talk show hosts on there are people that tend to be very hostile toward the West, very anti-American, are very, very conspiratorial, actually.
Well, and that's where it gets more interesting. You know, I'd like to hear people's views that are critical of America. I'm personally turned off by extremism, of course, but I'm interested in hearing those critiques. Where it gets more complicated is the notion of conspiracy theories.
Absolutely.
And that's what you hear oftentimes on this channel.
And conspiracy theories get very dangerous. I never realized, I was never privy to this world before, but working there, I realized how dangerous it is. These people hear these conspiracy theories and think that it's fact. I mean, the insiders there hatched a story with one of their friends saying that my resignation was part of a neocon plot.
Yes, this was a dust up online this week.
And yes, to take over the world, a neocon conspiracy theory to dupe the mainstream media. And they hear this from these people that thrive off of conspiracy theories. This is their livelihood. They've cultivated this kind of fringe extremist audience. And they think it's fact. And no matter what you say, these are people, it doesn't matter what kind of evidence you present to them, they do not want to believe the truth.
Why aren't your ex-colleagues leaving?
Right. Well, just to put it simply, some people are just there to collect a paycheck. I know there's people that have reached out to me. There were former colleagues and current colleagues that said, Liz, I'm so glad that you did that. They're desperate. They want to get out and they want to leave. So there's some that are really, really trying to leave. They want to leave, but then you have the backlash from a small handful of the particularly fringe extremists within RT that have just instead of addressing my message, they're bashing the messenger.
I want to play a soundbite from one of the newscasts this week to give an example of what people hear on RT. This is a guest blaming the U.S. for the revolution in Ukraine, saying that U.S. aid groups stirred up this revolution. Let's take a look.
Funding social groups or organizations, is the same thing as funding a revolution?
Well, of course, if they're tossing Molotov cocktails and not having a peaceful and what I would say a intellectual dialogue, using communications and paper and creating, what I would say, town halls and having discussions, that is funding a revolution. If you're, inciting violence and basically the money's going to organizations that may incite violence against the standing government, that is inciting a revolution, and I think it's illegal by international crimes by far. We've done it. The U.S. has done it in half a dozen nations in the last 10 years.
So that guest was identified as a former U.S. intelligence agent. He seems to be a regular on RT. He was bringing up George Soros and connecting the dots in ways that probably aren't connectable. Mm-hmm. Is this the sort of thing that's par for the course on the channel?
Absolutely. This is part of their strategy. They get these voices, they get these extreme voices on that have this kind of hostile toward the West viewpoints towards the world, very extremist. These are the people that they have on. And when I was on the anchor desk, they would instruct you to egg on these guests and try to get that, rallied up to really fire off their anti-American talking points. Listen, I am all about exposing government corruption. I'm all about being critical of the government. But this is different. This is promoting the foreign policy of somebody that has just invaded a country, and is then lying about it, is using the media as a tool to fulfill his foreign policy interests. And RT is part of Putin's propaganda network, and it's very, very troubling in the wake of what is going on in Ukraine today.
What have you learned in general about the media through this experience?
What have I learned about the media? Well, I've learned what not to do.
Which is?
I learned what a propaganda station looks like. I learned where lies are fabricated. I learned where maybe a small element of truth is twisted so far to the point that it's a lie. And so that's not something I ever want to be a part of. When I do return back to the workforce, I plan to. I have ambitions to return to the labor force. I want to be with an organization that is dedicated to telling the truth.
I think the 3 words I'm taking away from you were consider the source.
Consider the source. Absolutely.
Liz Wall, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.